What's good? It's your boy Fanon. All right. We are just about a week out from this big fight coming up between Terence Bud Crawford, my top pound for pound fighter in the world of boxing, and Jeff Horn. And I've been saying for a while that I think this is going to be a very competitive fight. A fight that I expect Terence Crawford to win and look good in. And one that'll tell me whether or not, how he would look against the other welterweights. Terence Crawford came out said some stuff where he really started giving credit to Jeff Horn and acknowledging that Jeff Horn is a tougher fight than it looks from the outside. Now I'm going to get into that, but first I want to thank everybody for subscribing to the channel and listening to the videos on a regular basis. It's much appreciated. Thank you guys for attending the live stream. If you guys have not attended the live stream before, please, and if you're not subscribed, please subscribe, hit the bell icon, like and share videos. Also, thank you to everybody that supports the channel by watching the videos and also on the super chats and the live streams, Venmo and Patreon. So let me get into this article. I'll tell you what I'm thinking about it. I'm in the going through all this conversation about the big fight that I wanted to see that looks like it's going to get denied to boxing fans. This one I think is for in the month of June is something that is not getting a lot of coverage and not a lot of people are talking about, but it's going to be a very, very good fight. I said the same thing about Jeff Horn and Manny Pacquiao when a lot of people were thinking and saying that there was no chance that Jeff Horn was going to be able to beat Manny Pacquiao or even be competitive with Manny Pacquiao. I did not believe that was the case. And honestly, I don't think that it's necessarily the case here with Terence Crawford. But let me go first into what he said. And Crawford says Horn is a tougher fight than it looks from the outside. And he goes into detail about why he says that is. And I think that people should listen to that. The thing that I like that Terence Crawford is doing here, though I don't think that he's being deceptive in any way, I think he's just shooting straight from the hip, is he's giving his opponent due credit. Just like Jeff Horn has given him due credit and not tearing down his opponent, but giving his opponent credit, which makes the win over Jeff Horn, if he's able to pull it off, makes it worthwhile, right? Because if you tear down an opponent and say that the guy's trash and he's garbage, then, what good does it do for you to have beaten him, right? So let me go through this. Terence Crawford is well aware most boxing fans and media think he'll easily expose Jeff Horn on June 9th. Crawford commonly is considered one of the top two boxers pound for pound in the sport, number one by this particular commenter. The former undisputed 140-pound champion dominated an undefeated title holder in his last fight before knocking out Julius Ndungo in the third round August 19th in Lincoln, Nebraska. Handicappers have installed Crawford as a 14-1 favorite over Horn, who upset Manny Pacquiao nearly 11 months ago to win the WBO welterweight title. All signs obviously point to Crawford winning, but he knows that the bigger, rugged Horn will present plenty of challenges during what figures to be a very physical fight for Horn's WBO welterweight title in Las Vegas. I tell everybody Horn is a really crafty type of guy, Crawford told BoxingScene.com. On the outside, you look at him and you don't think much of him. But then when you're inside the ring with him, he's strong, he's durable, he's off rhythm, and he's got a different type of fighting style that can beat anybody on any given day. You have to be prepared for anything from him come fight night. The 30-year-old Crawford, 32-0 with 23 KOs, will make his welterweight debut against Australia's Horn. The Omaha, Nebraska native has studied Horn closely and is somewhat surprised Horn has been almost completely dismissed approaching their 12-round 147-pound championship match at MGM Grand Garden Arena, and will be shown on ESPN Plus, which I paid for, and didn't want to have to, but I did. It's because I'm going to support my man, Terence Crawford, and my guy, Jeff Horn. Back to the article. A lot of people don't look at the real details, Crawford said. They don't see his feints, his angles, his punch selection, things like that. Those are the things that I look at, the things that he does that are different, that are unorthodox, and can frustrate a fighter. Crawford expects Horn, who's 18-0-1 with 12 KOs, to try to impose his physicality upon him as soon as their fight starts. I'm prepared for that, Crawford said. I feel like he's going to come in there and try to bully me and use his strength, and that's something we're going to be up for. He fights to win. I love a person to fight to win because I'm coming in there to fight to win, and that's going to make for an exciting fight. Now, while Terence Crawford is definitely giving Jeff Horn his due respect, he's also saying that he's more than willing to go up in there and beat up on Jeff Horn. So I like the change. I like the confidence that Terence Crawford has, and at the same time, the acknowledgement that he's in there with somebody that's a real fighter. For Horn, and this is a different statement from a different interview that Crawford gave to Fox Sports. For Horn, it's his second world title defense after capturing the title in July 2017 with a stunning 12-round unanimous decision over huge favorite Manny Pacquiao before a crowd of 51,000 at Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane, Australia. Horn has promised to come in there and push the tempo against Crawford, and that's exactly what the challenger expects to happen in the ring. Quoting Crawford, "The main thing is Horn's going to come in there and try to bully me and be aggressive because he feels he's the bigger man. Horn is a decent fighter. I can't take nothing away from him. He's made it to where he's at. Now he's undefeated, a world champion, and he just beat Manny Pacquiao. There's been a lot of trash talking going back and forth, especially from Horn's trainer, Glenn Rushton. Crawford believes Horn and his team members are attempting to get him riled up before the fight, so he's staying calm and ignoring most of the comments. At the same time, he intends to punish Horn for as long as he can take it. Their little tactics, what they're doing and what they're saying is not going to get me off my game plan or distract me at all. I feel good. I feel strong," Crawford said. I can give Horn all he wants. If he wants to absorb the punishment, so be it. So I'm trying to tell you, I'm really excited. I'm really excited about this fight. We get to see Terence Crawford. I like both of these guys. And what I'm hoping for Jeff Horn is I'm really hoping that this can be a competitive fight, and that Jeff Horn really shows well in this bout. Because I think that if he does that, then we have another major player in the welterweight division. I'm not one of these people that believe that you need to be undefeated in your career to be a great fighter. And it's just kind of ironic for me because it seems as if a lot of people, when somebody loses or has some difficulties in a fight, will just kind of brush off that fighter. And I don't think that's fair to the fighter, and I don't think that it's good for the sport of boxing. Jeff Horn, I think, really can be a very competitive fighter with most of the top heavyweights in the welterweight division. I don't think he beats an Errol Spence Jr., but I tell you, I think that he can give a very good showing and a very good fight to guys like Danny Garcia. I think he can give a very good fight and a very good show against guys like Sean Porter. I would love to see Jeff Horn fight somebody like an Omar Figueroa. I would like to see him fight guys like Lucas Matisse. Those would all be very, very exciting fights and fights that I would look forward to seeing. and fights that I think that can be made, provided that Jeff Horn doesn't get done like Julius Ndungo, right? Where it's just an obvious exposure where, Julius Ndungo was on his way up. He was an undefeated champion. He had 2 belts. He had come off a couple good wins against, I think the guy's name's Troynoski and Ricky Burns, but then he got in with Terence Crawford and got in there with Terence Crawford and Julius and Regis Porgray, and got knocked off real fast. So I'm hoping that that's not the case with Jeff Horn, and he gives a very solid fight. Now, also the reason I'm hoping it's a competitive fight is for Terence Crawford. I love boxing, and one of the things that I really do enjoy about boxing is I really enjoy the build up to the fight. Sometimes I enjoy the build up to the fight as much or more than the fight itself. All of the conversations that go on about who's going to win, the debates that go on back and forth between boxing fans, the debates that go back and forth between the different camps, the anticipation of the fight, right? That's something that really doesn't exist in the uncertainty and the unpredictability of when you're going to get a good fight in boxing. I think adds to the sport in a way. I think sometimes it takes away more than it adds, but it is a dynamic that being used to it, that I really appreciate. And the biggest fight that I think the 3 biggest fights in boxing, I've said this before, are, in my opinion, they can be made in boxing. I'll do a 4th one. But the biggest ones, the ones that I would be looking forward to the most, and there are other ones besides these, or the top one is Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua. The second one for me would be Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. The third would probably be Vasyl Lomachenko and Mikey Garcia. And then, provided Mikey Garcia can get past Robert Easter, I think a lot of people are just kind of acting and talking as if that's a foregone conclusion, and I do not think that it is. I think that's going to be a much tougher fight than people similar. I think that fight's going to be a lot harder for Mikey than people are than a lot of people are expecting. And then the last one is Canelo Alvarez versus Jermall Charlo. For me, it'd be Canelo Alvarez versus Jermall Charlo. Canelo Alvarez versus Gennady Golovkin, to me, has already happened. I'm just not that, with all the drama and the nonsense going on about it, for me, I don't like that fight as much as I like Canelo Alvarez versus Jermall Charlo. But in the eyes of most, I suppose, the larger number of boxing fans, because Gennady Golovkin is more established than Jermall Charlo, it would be the rematch between Canelo Alvarez and Gennady Golovkin. But in order for that fight, that number 2 fight, which is in the welterweight division, and the heavyweight division for me, and historically is the weight class in boxing. It's not even a weight class in boxing. When you have the man, somebody who is the man at heavyweight, that is the number 1, the top fight in boxing. When you have a definitive heavyweight champion, that guy is the man in boxing, and we don't have that right now. And I was so much looking forward to that fight happening between Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder, but for reasons that are very well, my opinion is very well documented on. I'm probably going to do another one later today, because I'm serious. I'm on that issue. I'm going to say it until, I'm going to talk about that till I'm blue in the face, and that's not an easy thing for me to turn. So, but after that, the welterweight division is the top division. And it is the division of Floyd Mayweather Jr. when he became Money Mayweather. It's the division of the Oscar De La Hoyas. It's the division of the Sugar Ray Robinsons, of the Sugar Ray Leonards, right? That division is a absolutely stellar weight class. The number 2 weight class for me, as far as anticipating a unified champion coming out of it. But that can't happen unless Terence Crawford looks good against Jeff Horn. There's already a lot of hesitancy in the mainstream boxing media. And I don't even know if you can really call that boxing media mainstream anymore. It's more the old guard boxing media, the print media. Right about now, the most influential media is the media on YouTube. Whether the debates that go on YouTube, even when you have news articles that are written by the print media, it's interpreted and shared and distributed by YouTube boxing, the YouTube boxing community in large. And by that I mean the people that do the highlight videos, people from the UK that talk about Anthony Joshua, the people from the United States, whether they're hashtag new media or hashtag pound LDBC or what have you, or the traditional media and promotional outlets that do commentary on YouTube, or the videographers like Ellie Sethback, or the combo videographer / opinion channels like Dante's Boxing Nation. That's what I'm thinking is really that's really becoming the boxing media, where most of the information is distributed. But there's been a lot of hesitation in giving Terence Crawford his just due as the top pound for pound guy in boxing. And it clearly has to do with I think the preferential treatment that Terence Crawford gets, that Vasyl Lomachenko gets from his promoter. There's no knock. I have no knock on Vasyl Lomachenko as far as being a great fighter. I have him as my number 2 guy pound for pound, right, in the list that I give him. He's got undeniable talent and undeniable ability. I mean, his ability in the boxing ring is without question. The hype around him, though, which he's coming to deserve, right? He's getting closer and closer. He's working towards it. I'm worried about him in this injury that he had, because that seems to me to be a repetitive use injury on his shoulder that torn. I forget, it's a labrum, whatever the tear that happened on his shoulder. That very well could wind up being a situation where that lingers, and you start to see more and more injuries from Vasyl Lomachenko, because he really does have some pretty extreme training methods, like bouncing around on top of his hand, walking on his hands, and bouncing up and down on his hands, while he's walking on his hands. Although he only has 12 professional fights, he's fought maybe 500 fights in his career. He's 30 years old. He's been fighting since he was 4 or 5 years old, right? That's 25 years of fighting, and 25 years of grueling training that very well might start. I think that this might be, and I'm hoping it's not, the first sign that wear and tear is going to start affecting his body, right? So anyway, that said, Terence Crawford really does need to look good in this fight and maybe overcome some challenges in this fight, similar to, I think, the fight against Linares showed me something that I didn't know was there, that I think I saw a little bit of that in the Orlando Salido fight with Lomachenko, but I definitely saw more of it when he got up and from being hurt by Linares and went on to win that fight and knocked that dude out with that body shot. I think Jeff Horn could definitely add to, if he's able to challenge Terence Crawford, he can give Terence Crawford that little bit of push that he needs, to show that he really has true grit, and to beat a fighter in a fight where he's really pushed. Because if he's going to fight an Errol Spence, he's going to get pushed against Errol Spence. I don't think there's any comparison between Jeff Horn and Errol Spence in the way that I see it. So anyway, that's why I'm hoping for a competitive fight. I've said it before in other videos that I think that this fight's going to end on cuts, because Jeff Horn's face just kind of opens up, badly in his last few fights. But, we'll see what's happening, man. But I definitely like the tone, the combination of Terence Crawford admitting or acknowledging that Jeff Horn is that he's going to be a difficult, or he's a deserving champion, and that he is somebody that is not to be taken lightly and needs to be treated with more respect to people out in the, who talk about the fight. But at the same time, saying that he's going to go in there, overcome, and take care of his business. So hopefully this fight can really be exciting and a good, solid performance for both guys, and which can then lead to a super fight with whoever winds up coming up on top of the welterweight division. And I think that'll be Errol Spence Jr., but we will see. And with that, I'm out. Peace.